Hello everyone, and welcome back to today's video. In today's video we're going to be continuing along with the RX7 project, and we're going to be working on refinishing the dash. Now a lot of people just automatically, when they're taking these old 80s and 90s cars, they take the dash out, they repair a few cracks superficially, and they flock it. And while I'm not against flocking the dash, I want to try something a little bit different. What I want to do is try something a little bit different for a different look. So I'm going to try and repair what I can on the FC dash before I do any flocking, and I'll only do flocking as a last result if I can't get the results I'm looking for. So as you can see, aside from missing some of the components that fit in it, it looks like it's in pretty good condition in the front, which it is, and it happens to be black. But it didn't start out that way. This dash actually began its life as a blue, nice 80s blue interior dash, and I painted it a long time ago with a good Krylon brand plastic adhesive paint. However, even though it's in pretty good condition, the top part of it here has these bumps. If you put it at an angle you can see it better. And that's the thing about anybody knows about having an FC dash, is that unlike other cars from this period that crack over time when being in the sun, this just sort of bubbles up. I'm not sure what the cause of it is, but also when it bubbles up, these little things actually leak out some sort of like grease. So what I'm going to try and do is see if I can sand those things down and get a nice smooth surface. I am a little bit concerned because the top of the dash, well, all of the vinyl wrap on the dash has like a texture to it. You can see that texture here where there aren't any bumps. So I'm concerned when I sand these down that it's going to leave this too smooth and it's going to look strange. But like I said, I'll cover it up with flocking if it doesn't turn out the way I'd like, and I'm going to go ahead and give that a try. Before I get started on that, there are some repairs I need to make. I've tried repairs in the past. You can see some of those here. And even here, but you can see this is not holding. So in the past I feel like I used an adhesive that wasn't correct for this. So I've got myself some JB Weld plastic weld, and I'm going to go ahead and clean this up and apply that now. Now in the last video, if you didn't see, we got the motor back in the RX7. So if you haven't taken time, please go back, take a look at that video. It's the beginning of a lot of exciting work to come, working on the motor and the turbo system. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'll leave a link right up here. Now while the JB plastic weld cures, I'm going to go ahead and start sanding on the top of the dash, see what we can do about those bumps. So I'm going to use this fine grit sanding block that's kind of malleable because the surfaces are not completely flat. So I'll contour it and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so I'm working on sanding this. And I just wanted to see if I can get this on camera. So right here I'm starting to sand through, focus, starting to sand through the top of these bumps, and there's this oil starting to come out. It's almost like the surface is bleeding. I really don't know what this is. Yeah, it's an oily consistency. Maybe it's something to do with the vinyl plastic, but I've seen it on almost all FCs. So whatever it is, it's still seeping out after, what is it, 30 years? Crazy. Okay, so after some test sanding, it's not going very well getting rid of these bubbles or bumps, whatever you want to call them, on the dash. So as I'm sanding them, I'll show you what I'm discovering. I was able to sand it down and get it relatively smooth, but as I got to the bottom of those little bumps or bubbles, they started to pit out and break through, and the vinyl's actually quite brittle where those imperfections happened. Also, if you can see the difference from here to here, when I sand it down, it does lose all of its texture. So I think that this would look really awkward. Everything is textured, and then this is just flat. And then same thing over here. Everything's textured, and this is just flat. So this video is quickly turning into a flocking the dash video. Only thing is, I don't have a dash flocking kit yet. With the magic of editing, the days that I have to wait for it to come in the mail are going to be just split seconds for you. So while I'm waiting, I'm going to fill those little holes with like a bumper body filler. It's kind of flexible, should work well with the vinyl. So we have a nice surface to work with, and then we're going to flock the dash now. Alright, so here's some of the prep before we actually flock the dash. I'm using some of these clamps and some glue underneath to try and clamp down and secure down the vinyl that was coming up in a couple locations. And also all this glazing putty, it's actually a two-part epoxy. The reason this is here is to fill all those little potholes so we can sand it down so that we can apply the flocking in a nice smooth pattern so I don't have all these little potholes in it. Okay, so that epoxy I put on here did not work at all. So after reading around for what people used, aside from like crack repair type solutions, it just said try Bondo. So I tried the Bondo. I'm about to sand it down. I can already see it filled in the holes better than the epoxy did. And that old epoxy, when I sanded it, wouldn't sand and also just peeled right off. It didn't bond at all. So I'm going to sand the Bondo and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so now it's time to talk about why I didn't want to flock the dash initially. Everyone knows the flocking the dash is a cool look. It's what rally cars do to avoid reflection of the dash in the windscreen when it's bright out, and that's all cool. But the FC is a little bit different. The dash, if we go over here to the actual door panels of the car, the dash swoops down from here and connects in to the doors, and then you have this wraparound feeling. So in order to keep that continuous, because again this is a street car, it's going to have door panels, it's going to have a dash that's, you know, looks nice, not just for switches and gauges. We're going to remove the door panels and we're going to actually flock this part all the way down to here and leave this surface unflocked. And hopefully that will give a consistent enough look to make it look like it's something that's supposed to be there, maybe a little OEM plus modification. Okay, so we just finished masking off the door cards and cleaning everything off. This is our flocking kit. We have two of these little flocking guns, so we can do it simultaneously, Jeff and I, because time is a factor. If you've seen any other flocking videos, you have to get this glue on, and then you have to get the flocking material on pretty quickly afterwards so that you don't have any dry spots and everything gets on evenly. And hopefully 2 bags plus 2 cans of glue should be enough to get it on. And for this kit, I'll leave a link in the description below. It's not a sponsor of ours, but a lot of other videos I watched didn't say where they got their kit, and there's pretty much only one place you can buy it from that you get like the complete kit, so I'll leave that down below. Jeff's still pumping a little bit. What would you say out of 10 you'd give this so far?
Well, it's better than it was, but it's not like the best solution. So like 6 maybe.
Yeah. Hopefully we're happier with it when we see it all dry, and maybe we can touch up a few spots. But the thing is, rushing against the clock because you have 10-15 minutes between applying the glue to do everything is what probably made us cut a few corners in application. So we have a few like globbed on pieces and runs, but maybe we can, if we really don't like it, just sand those down and try to reapply it if we have some left over. So we'll see. Now it's time to tackle these, and I'm nervous because these door cards are in incredible condition for their age, and I hope we don't ruin them. They look a little bit easier to work with though. So.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if we should even flock them because they're so nice.
Yeah, I think we have to though, because otherwise it's going to look really weird with the flock dash. All right, so here's the aftermath and the mayhem of our first attempt. How do you think about after we did the dash and the doors?
Practice on something you don't really want to, you're not going to use first before you actually go on something you want to use.
Amen to that.
Because it look like, if you actually look at flock stuff, you know, it looks really, really nice. But then, like, if you don't know really, never installed it before, kind of doesn't look as nice.
Yeah. So we need to let this dry. Maybe some of the things like where the glue is a little too much will kind of go away when it dries. We'll see. The good news is we don't have enough to finish this piece. So with that,
yeah, we can't mess up anything today. We're done. We're done messing things up. Can't mess that up today. We're good.
also that means we're going to need to order more of the suede fibers. So hopefully, if we have any big missed areas where there wasn't any of the glue, or we need to just redo it, maybe we can sand it down and do it again. Overall, I'm hoping that when it dries and we shake off the excess, it looks better than I think it's going to look. So fingers crossed. Okay, so it's been a couple days since we flocked the dash. We waited a few days because they were rainy and kind of humid, so I want to give as much time as possible for the glue to dry so we can see what we're working with. Let's take a look. So right here are the door cards. I gotta say they look actually pretty smooth. So we'll see. I'm about to remove the excess here. Dash is looking pretty okay as well. A lot of the areas I was worried about did dry up. There's a few that didn't. Let's see. Down here, hopefully you can see it on camera, but glue runs. That's probably because this, vertical surface instead of horizontal. Should have been a little more conservative with applying the glue, but hopefully we can repair that. As I said, we have more coming, so we'll see what it takes a look at. So I'm going to go ahead and spray it off now. Use the air compressor, nice low setting, and see how it looks. Alright, so I gotta say I'm pretty relieved after spraying them off with the compressed air. There's definitely some areas we need to touch up. As I mentioned, we have a little bit more flock suede material coming. We have plenty of glue, so we're going to touch those up, and I feel like it's going to work out well. I do have to say that use this video as a learning tool for you. Do it a little bit differently than we did. We did better on the doors than we did on the dash, and we did the dash first, which is more complicated, so that was probably a bad decision. And also we just set a timer the second time, and that helped a lot because we rushed way too quickly, thinking we had less time than we actually did when working on the dash. And so that's why we're going to have to go back and redo some of the work we did. Also know it's incredibly messy, so make sure you do it outside, lay a tarp down, make sure you wear a respirator mask or just a dust mask. And yeah, we're going to finish this up when it comes in, when I get this video out, but soon we're going to be putting the whole interior back in. So at that point we'll do a nice shot showing everything that's flocked inside the interior and how it all looks, and give you a final opinion. So remember guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.